Yo.
Friday. Well, I guess we shouldn't say what day it is. Hey,
It's not last Friday.
we missed an episode. Well, we missed a
Hurt.
week of recording.
It felt weird. I almost didn't come today.
Really?
So I was like, I missed one while I was missed two.
Oh, no. I see. That's the problem when you start like skipping the ritual.
know.
It's easy to skip
It's a
again.
common trend. Like if you are starting as something, you kind of have to push through those times when you're like, it's like working out. I go to the gym one day a week just to do it. And I'd love to go 2 or 3. But it's just not really happening. But I could see if I missed that one day, how quickly I would just keep saying nah, and it's tough to keep up with things like this when you have a lot going on, and we're getting slammed right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to pick up. Springtime's coming. It's getting nice outside. Lots of work to do, I'm sure.
Everybody's getting very excited about their project and getting things going, and then the people that were kind of like all winter long, like, they're like, let's go, so we're kind of, we know that's a trend, and it's even a trend for us. I mean, we come out and we're like, oh, all right, let's get to work, we have to like burn our winter fat off, and it feels better to work outside. It feels good, unless you have really bad allergies like I do, but I deal with that through medication.
And longer work days, too.
Yeah,
Or at least more
it's a little,
sunlight.
a lot more sunlight, which is great because that gives us the opportunity to work till our normal 4 to 5 and go home and have some daylight with our family. I mean, it's like crazy. Last night, Rye and Colden and I went to a new place and that we got, and it was like 7 something. It was still daylight. I was like, this is crazy. We can go out here and do a little bit. We just had our floors sanded in the house and wanted to go look at it and protect them and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's going good.
Well, a lot must have happened in the week that we missed the last episode, so I'm sure you're probably like banging on all cylinders.
Well, it was weird. Like Wednesday, I was like, I'm gonna have so much to talk about, and now I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about.
Yeah.
Yes, but yes, a lot's happened. We hired a new guy. That's awesome. Somebody I've known for a very long time, longer than I've had Omnibuild. He's been in the trades, and he's very good, and he's very humble, and he's coming on to help us with projects. And it's kind of one of those things where like we know we have a need, and we think we're pretty clear of what that need is, but we're also open to the process of figuring out how he's going to fit that need and what that need actually looks like when we put somebody in it over time. So, I'm excited about the process. I know he's nervous, but that's okay. I always think that's a good thing. I'm like, if you're not nervous, then it's probably a problem because maybe you're not thinking about it clearly. I don't know. That's how I've always felt. Like I'd prefer to go into a job having a little bit of fear and nervousness as opposed to being like, this is easy. I probably miss something, probably mess it up, So I think that's a healthy thing. And I'm excited because I think he's going to integrate well with the teams, and it's tricky bringing a new person. It's like, who's this person and what are they doing here and blah, blah, blah. And, you have to kind of massage that in and like be like, no, this is a new member of the family and it's all going to be good. And we're all here for each other. He's trying to help you with, or me with this to help you with that. And it's a combined situation that that's supposed to make everything easier and better. And honestly, it's felt that way. And Justin Miller is doing a little more of like going to jobs and doing a little bit more of that where he's going to help line out aspects of it, which is what I used to do, or Noah or Luke or something like that, or Spencer. And it's nice now that Miller's backing us up so we can stay in deep with the client and that's a little bit about what Cody's gonna do, and then Ian stepping up and really jumping into the driver's seat on the mass and the our kind of big framing crew, you know?
So as your company grows and you bring new people in, you're moving people around so that you have more coverage and more opportunity for growth. When you say Miller, I mean, I know who Miller is. Maybe some listeners don't, but you've got foreman. He's a foreman, right? So now he's sort of positioning into a different role, like
I don't
a
even know what it's called, and that's why I talk about, like, learning
yeah.
and the evolution of the positions
Hmm.
and stuff like that. It's like, I think I'm calling it more like superintendent, you know? It's like Kenny recently moved into, like, a superintendent role over electrical, and, we have a bunch of electricians who are completely awesome, and what I realized is that I was holding too much control over the electrical crews and how I wanted it to happen and all that, but I'm not in the field day to day. I'm not experiencing what they are. I'm having a tiny picture of it. So, like, when I roll onto the job, I'm seeing that little window, but not the whole week, month, year of what they've been doing and how they've gotten there and how they've built their team and how they're utilizing their team. And it's not that I'm wrong or right or they're wrong or right. It's more like, um, you don't have a clear full picture. You have good intuition and good process of how to do things because you're running a company, but we figured this out, you know? So, and trusting that. And so what I've decided is with Kenny, he's all day in with electrical. I mean, that's his thing. And I moved him into like a supervisor, superintendent kind of role with those guys where now when I get an electrical call, boom, straight to Kenny. Kenny figures out the crews, who's going, how it's happening, the schedule, handles the billing with Deb and stuff like that. So I don't have to kind of part way help, which that's what was happening is I was kind of saying initiating it and then having to back out because I'm trying to get this other job out of the ground or do X, Y, or Z. And then it was never truly getting the attention it needs on electrical end. And now we are able to do that. And it's great. And the guys, I think, are way more responsive to it. And now they feel like they have the support that they need. Um, so, it's feeling pretty good.
So the superintendent sort of liaisons you and the foreman and the crews so that everybody feels like they're on the same page and
Yeah.
has that whole view.
It's more like the project manager liaison. So,
Okay.
project manager says, hey, I got the job. I got the contract signed. I'm working through the long schedule. And now we're ready to frame. We'll skip foundation and I'm ready to frame. And they'll call Cody or Miller to go meet the framing crew to go over the plans. Now, the project manager will work with the superintendent to explain the things that are important from the client's perspective and what they've discussed in the meeting and something that might have minorly changed in the plans, stuff like that. Um, but Cody or Justin might implement it in the field with whether it's our crew or sub crew or something like that. And same thing, I skip foundations, but Luke is kind of our we have project managers that also do a specialty thing in our company, and Luke handles the foundations. Luke has super high tech equipment that he kind of is the only one. Him and Ian starting to learn it a little bit too. It's basically like it's a total station unit that's like a GPS that you can lock in a foundation within probably less than a 16th of an inch. I get it real close. And so what's really nice about that is Luke can go out and lay out for the house with the owners. They can really feel it. We can pin a window where it's going to be, and you can stand in. Now, obviously, you might not be at the grade the window is, but you can get a feel for what you might see out of that room or window. Then he stakes that once we decide. A client might say, let's rotate 5 degrees or let's, turn the whole house around. And we can do that easily with the unit as opposed to tape measures. And when you're on a grade, you can't pull a tape measure because it has to be level or your measurements are off. So it's complicated if you have 10 feet of grade to hold a tape measure up. And so anyway, this has been great. So then the excavation happens. Luke will go back out. He'll pin the corners of the footer. The footers will be poured, and then he'll pin the corners of the walls that get formed on top. And it is worked very good. It's taken all the guesswork out. It's taken, like, once you dig a hole and you're trying to reorientate the house, you can put it exactly back to where you discussed it with the client, which is important because they pick up on those things. We might not think it's a big deal in the building world because we're like, "Brr, go," moving fast, where it's their only project that they're doing. So they're excited. They're thinking about that view out that window every day since you've talked about it. And so it's critically important to get it right. And that's one of the things that we figured out over the years, and which I think separates us from some people, because we're not going to be within a foot of where that house was originally laid out. We're going to be within the 16th of an inch. And that's a nice thing to offer. We spend tons of time laying houses out. We brought equipment out to jobs and lifted people up in baskets and put them exactly at their window. The height, the orientation, so that when they're standing at the window, they see, and they may say, "I want to move 10 degrees this way." And we're like, "No problem. We got a machine that does that."
And it's all on your iPad kind of showing the render?
Yeah, so yes. Yeah, Noah will model it,
Mhm.
or an architect, whoever we're working with, that will show it, but then it's all on Luke's equipment that actually models the actual pinpoint locations. We could then put it into the model to show it. I mean, if we're going next dimension architectural, yeah, we could take pictures, show the view out that window exactly how it would represent in the house, but that's another dimension. And some people need that to be able to feel comfortable to build. Not many people do it. It could be very expensive. So we try and do it like where somebody stands on my back and I'm like, "You're kind of at your window. Like, look out. Do you like it? Great, get off." It's just a good system. And, Spencer does a lot of the takeoffs, so he's also got a specialty where he understands the packages and the bids. Um, Noah is a specialty. He's not really a project manager, but he's assisting every project manager and everybody else. He does a lot. He's a very, very key employee. Like insurance people talk about key employees. You insure them in case they like stub their toe. You can get an insurance claim. I'm just kidding. We don't have insurance on Noah. And so, yeah. And then I'm kind of a specialty in my own regard of like a driver. That's kind of like, I try to go out and figure out the most effective and efficient way to do things and push and throw weight around, and it's not weight. It's like the relationship around, when you use a foundation guy for 10 years and you give him everything you got, he's loyal to you to a degree because you're loyal to him. And so you can say, "I got to get this in this week. I have to meet this deadline." And one of the things that the project managers are doing now, instead of managing framing, and are you laughing at the thing scratching at the wall?
I'm trying not to because the audience can't hear it, but the
There's
squirrels
a really intense squirrel on the wall, and I may have to go scorched earth on that thing eventually. Not kill it, but like find a way to get it out.
evict.
Yeah, big squirrels. But with the project managers having more time, their ability to do things like the schedule is becoming a thing, which is what Christy is kind of putting her efforts towards more these days, is like getting a real company schedule. It's hard when you have like 30 or 40 projects going. I mean, it's a lot.
And 50 people.
Yeah.
And
And
however
then
many subs.
hundreds of subs. It's tremendous effort.
Mhm.
So, we're constantly trying to figure that out, and I think Christy's done a very good job. I think that she is getting a grip on it. It's like one of those things where I've had in my mind how it's gonna work, but I've never actually drawn it to see if it works, and so I get frustrated at times. I'm like, "Ah, I just want it to work." And then I step out of it for a minute and trust the process, and I come back and I'm like, "Okay, she's got it. She knows what she's doing. I need to trust the process more rather than get frustrated." It might be not be done the second I want it done, but I have to be realistic. Like this scheduling thing that we've been working on might take a year to have it fine tuned. It might take 2 months to have it pretty roughed in and understand what's going on with it, but it might take a year to where it's like
Well-oiled machine that
yeah.
everyone
And
understands.
that's just being realistic and setting realistic goals.
Mhm.
I can set unrealistic goals and I wouldn't have anybody that wants to work with me, because I'd be too much of an asshole.
Yeah, but you're the driver, that's your specialty, you gotta push it a little harder than someone else
Yeah, I
might.
gotta try kindness and firmness, dude. I just talked to my counselor. I was like, I think I might have kindness and firmness off.
Oh, yeah?
She's like, no, no, no. She's like, let's talk about it. And we talked about it. And I think words can be, it's just tricky, man. Like kindness doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna be like, oh, good job, man. It could be like, no, you messed up. You really did, and it sucks. But we're gonna work through it, and you need to figure out how to not have that problem again. Because I'm not doing the you're complete asswad. You messed up and like freak out and like punch the floor and like cry and go nuts and like drive 1,000 miles per hour. I can keep my cool. And to me, that's kind, you know, of being firm in a way of saying something indirect, as opposed to not blowing my gasket and like throwing somebody under the bus to the point where it just doesn't feel good. Because most of the time when that happens, I go home and I end up feeling like crap about it. And then I may or may not want to like make an amend or have an apology, and if I don't, then I carry that for God knows how long, and they carry it too. And if I do, then it's a whole nother thing we got to talk about. So it's a tricky thing. So I try to get to a place where I don't have to do that as much. I mean, yeah, I have to make apologies all the time. But I don't want to do them as much.
Well, isn't it kind to be honest to somebody that you care about, even if
Yeah.
it hurts or if it sucks? Like,
Yeah.
it might be more of a violent communication, quote, unquote, "thing" to say something that's not true just to brush something under the rug and
Yeah.
avoid a conflict or avoid the
Yeah.
truth.
Well, I think words just get scrambled in my mind sometimes. Like I think like kind means gentle and like oh and like whatever, but
That's
that's
not.
not. That's like I don't know what that is, but it's not kind in my mind.
That's like coddling.
Yeah.
Coddling. You don't wanna
Which I'm
coddle employees.
not a coddler.
No.
No,
You're a driver.
I could be coddling, but I don't want to be, bro. I gotta be tough.
Coddling's for babies and for
Yeah.
puppies
Yeah.
and,
Exactly.
people, that need it,
Keep it
but
to the babies and the puppies, and we'll be good.
this is a contractor business, we're tough.
Oh yeah. We'll try to pair like we are.
I don't think the blue collar industry is known for that type of mentality of wanting to prioritize kindness. I think it's more prioritize firmness, get the job done, like hardcore,
Yeah.
like sort of brute force, rough around the edges. That's what you think about when you think about contractors.
Well, you don't want to set your people up for failure. And what I mean by that is, and one of the things that I've learned is you don't want to have an expectation in your mind. Like, let's just say, for instance, this job's going to take a week. It's going to take a week to frame this deck. I know that because I bid it. I talked to the client. I have an expectation. You don't want to send your guys out to the job and say, get this deck built. And then on Thursday, the last day of the week or day before last, depends on your work week, um, you have a mental breakdown on your crew and say, this was supposed to be done in a week. We gotta get this done. Blah, 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 blah. We're missing the deadline. You want to send them out to the job and you want to say, hey guys, we got to try and get this done in a week. Set a goal, something that they can work towards so they're not just like, oh. I work much better when I have a goal, and even on the big jobs, when you're working on an 18-month job or 5-year job, you still need to set goals on all different aspects. You might not set the 18-month or 5-year goal. You do in your own mind of, I got to do all these steps to get to that final step, but you need to set goals and you need to achieve those through weekly, bi-weekly, monthly meetings with your team and say, "Hey, we're got to get this frame out done in a month." And you might say that in the first meeting, like, "How do we think we're going to do that?" You know, and I like to do that to see if my crew thinks it's even possible. Because sometimes they're like, "That shit ain't even real. Like, you're messed up. Like, you gonna go talk to the client." And that's what goes on in my head. They don't say that like that, but I'm like, "Crap." So then I might have an opportunity before we start to clear it up with the client. Like, "Hey, this is gonna take 5 weeks instead of 4. So, but we're gonna try to make up that time somewhere else in the schedule." Um, or we might say, "Okay, well, it's difficult, but we're gonna have to, like, really figure out our system of how we're doing this to achieve that in a month." And I'm like, "Great." And then check in 2 weeks. Are we still hitting our timeline? Do we need to pull another guy in or another crew in from a job to hit that deadline? And so that's when you start becoming a team and you're giving people the opportunity to um actually have a realistic goal that's not like this unrealistic, unattainable thing because you never talked about it, until you're upset about it and then it comes across all wrong. And everybody's like, "Damn, Matt's an asshole." And they might think I'm a jerk when I say we got to get it done in a week, but there's something good that I think people feel when you say, "We got to get this done in a week," and then they achieve it, or they get it done in 4 days, or, 3 hours early. And then I'm like, hell yeah. Like, go get lunch, like, get a beer, but don't drive a company vehicle and, like, have a good night. Like, it's a cool thing. I don't know. Like, when I played sports as a kid, anytime we won or had anything like that, it's just a good feeling. It's like a natural high.
Yeah, well, I think when you achieve things together that seem impossible or maybe seem hard
Yeah.
to reach those goals, and then you do it, it shows to yourself and to everyone else that you're capable of doing things at
Yeah.
a higher capacity, at a high quality, and then that reflects throughout the company as like, oh, well, we're able to take on more work, we're making
Hmm.
more money, we're able
Yeah.
to share that wealth with the company and move everybody forward in the company.
Hmm.
Like if you're just stagnating and taking as long as you want
Yeah.
and then billing hourly, it's like, well, no, like it's harder to see the growth. So pushing your employees to see how fast you can maintain the quality and get that work done
Yeah.
and keep that schedule, it's like
It is.
it's proof in the pudding of like, oh, we're making strides, and
It feels good.
I think that's cool.
It is cool, and it feels I like going home feeling like that. I
Yeah.
like going home feeling like we're hammering out, we're doing good, we're communicating. I mean, I'd much rather be feeling let down about a job, but communicating with my teams as opposed to the opposite of not communicating and then being an asshole and being let down all at the same time. I'd rather be like, "Oh man, I'm let down." Not necessarily by my crew. It could be like by my schedule I've set forth. It could be about the weather. It could be about whatever. But if I'm communicating with my teams and we know what's going on and we're having a good conversation about it, then I feel great about it. And I'm like, okay. Now, clients might feel differently, but it's how you explain it to them. If you're not lying and you're not BSing and making excuses up and you're really transparent and you're kind and you're firm and you say, "Look, we did everything we could. I messed up on how much time I told you it was going to take." And you own it from the beginning. It's so much easier for the rest of the project. If you go in there and say, "Oh my God, I stubbed my toe and had explosive diarrhea, and like there was a solar flare and our phone didn't work," and they're like, "What, dude?" They might in the moment be like, "Oh, wow, we're sorry," but they probably go home and are like, "Man, that's full of crap," and then it just sets a bad tone for the job. So I think being real about it, and that's the opportunity. Like when you go talk to your framing crew, like, and most of our framing crews are our own, and they're totally badass, and you sit down and you say, "What's up, man? We thought we were gonna get this done, in 3 weeks," and they're like, "We just can't do it, Matt." And then you have that opportunity to talk to the client, as uncomfortable as that is. You don't wanna go to a client on the 3rd phase of their project, excavation, foundation, now framing, and say, "It's the worst." It's like, "Oh," and then you go to the client and you say, "Man," and then you have a game plan of trying to make that time up, and you show it to them through proof. You say, "Well, I'm gonna try and push my drywall guy to work on Saturday and Sunday, you know, to get us 2 days there, and then I'm gonna try and get 2 days on insulation, and I'm gonna try and make up a day on this." And then you actually hit those milestones and show it. It's tricky. You're against so many odds in construction. You're against tariffs. There's a war going on. Prices are going up. You're against weather, that you have no control over. And some jobs are affected by weather and some aren't. You have sickness. You have so many different things, vehicle breakdowns, Um, we could have a piece of equipment breakdown and then we're out. We can't do nothing. We could try and rent something, figure it out, borrow some, but that's a whole nother process. So there's a lot of variables, and that's why construction's stressful, and that's why, communication is the most critically important thing. Um, I wanted to say one other thing that happened over the past 2 weeks that I forgot.
It's coming back to you now.
Omnibuild won an award,
Oh,
baby.
yeah.
We won the New River Valley Home Builders Association Custom Home of the Year.
Yeah, you did.
It was sweet, dude, and, I gotta give a big shout out to Kelsey and everybody over there. We had been asked for years to join, and I just, like, don't like joining clubs. I don't know why, but, like, it feels I'm just too old for it or something, like, I'm too tired. I think I'm too tired, I'm not too old but, like, I met Kelsey at an event, and she kinda talked to me about it, and I was like, I don't know what it is. When I receive an email or a phone call about joining something, it's not as authentic as meeting in person. And so I immediately think maybe it's a scam, maybe it's whatever. And so when I finally cross paths with Kelsey, I'm like, she's awesome. This is a cool thing to be a part of. Why? I can't believe we didn't do it. And, we joined up and then we entered a home that we built because we had never done anything like that. And we won the award. And it's a pretty big deal. It's a lot of builders. I mean, me and Rye went to the award ceremony, and Christy and Deb and a few others, I think Brooke, have gone to the hard hat happy hours and the little meetings that they have, which they've loved. Um, but Rye and I got to go to the award ceremony, and we actually won Custom Home of the Year, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many other building companies there are, 50, maybe more. There were hundreds of people.
Describe this custom home. Why do you think it won? What
I
about it was so
Well,
remarkable?
first of all, think they'll be okay with me saying it's Brenda and Ron's home. They're awesome. They're like the coolest people. I mean, they're like, I look at their relationship and what they've created in life, and I'm like, that is like what I would love to be. Like, they love each other, they joke, they play around, they have a beautiful life they've created, they've worked very hard. They're just beautiful people. I think a lot of them. And we started with them designing the home, and they wanted a home here to kinda get away from the hustle and bustle of, like, the lives that they have where they live to come to the country and, like, sink in and just, be in nature. And, at least that's what I think. I mean, they didn't, like, say that word for word to me. Um, but, they started off with a design that we had already done, and then kind of kept embellishing it. And I will say Brenda and Ron, like, designed that house with us, with Luke. Luke crushed it, Tom Powers helped with that, Noah helped with that, and then we all put our heads together, and it was really cool because they were really integrated in. You know, Ron would say, I need like this to be like 2 feet taller or 1 foot wider. And Brenda would say, well, let me look at how this is going to affect that now. And it was this really beautiful process of designing a home that is amazing. And it's not like, you know, the type of home where it's just like full def con, like no budget, like just go crazy and use the most expensive stuff. They were very thoughtful in the things that they picked, you know, to keep it within a good budget, but like appear as like an ultra custom home, which it is because of the mindset behind it, and it's gorgeous. And the whole process through, they were heavily involved in the concrete. And you know, it was really fun. You know, Ron, you know, is like, I got a friend in concrete, and we called him and talked. And I like that ability to like work through things and discuss it, you know. And Abraham was instrumental in that project, you know, of pulling off some pretty intense framing situations. I mean, he is next dimension. You know, we talked about it, alien technology.
Extraterrestrial.
Yeah, extraterrestrial. Um, you know, Noah and Luke, and I mean Luke, Jesse worked on that project with the selections, you know, which there was a lot of them. And so, you know, again, it was what we like to call an Omnibuild. It was managed by Luke, crushed it. Like I keep forgetting to bring that award to put on Luke's desk.
Oh, yeah. We
Um,
gotta get a picture of him with it.
I'm gonna make a necklace so he can wear it, dude.
Big
But
chain.
even though Luke was the project manager and shared the lion's share of that project, when you get into projects like that, it becomes very much a team approach too, where Jesse she doesn't work with us anymore, but she's doing a podcast and stuff now too. You better check that out. I haven't, sorry, but I will tonight now that I said it because I need to. You know, show some love. Jesse Benson, life coach, Dr. Jesse Benson. Um, so she got heavily involved with selections and meeting the people that were installing cabinets and things. And Haley got involved with the selections, and Noah got involved with working out details, and Abraham got involved with working out things. And, you know, so it was like it was what we like to call on certain jobs team approach. And what's really interesting that came up is that Courtney and I talked about team approach the other day and how we think it's a very cool thing because we'll have a project that we want to do. Let's just say somebody we know fairly well that we want to work with. We don't have to necessarily give them a project manager because we're like, we're going to push you through the steps and the process in a different way. You're not going to get the hand holding. You're not going to get the little messages here and there that you may need, because we're pushing you through the process to get you a home to live in. We call those team approach most of the time. Now we do team approach with other projects as well, depending, but it's when we're light on project managers. And then we still have a point of contact, but it's more spread out amongst. And so Courtney and I, we've been using it for a couple of years. And Courtney and I or probably mostly Courtney, is going to work on kind of detailing out what is team approach, what is the process, so that when somebody comes in and we say, we can do your project, but we can't give you a dedicated project manager, we're going to go team approach. Or we have a project manager that just quit, or for whatever reason, they're starting a different career, they're aging out, they're retiring, whatever. We say, sorry, unfortunately, we have to go to team approach. You know, we want to be able to like explain what that is because it's a cool process, and you get a little taste of a lot of different people in your project, you know, which is sometimes better for people, you
Mhm.
know. And sometimes throughout the project, they say, well, I like working with blah, blah, blah better than this person. And, you know, and we can kind of adjust the team approach to that, you know.
So is team approach for a specific type of client in reality, or is it just for when you need to, as a company, apply it to a client?
There's many different levels to it. The team approach is more like your Hail Mary. Like you're running out of time, you need backup, and you're just like, Shaplam, team approach, and you just full annihilation. You have access to everything. So
Mhm.
it's a good thing for some people. Some people want that one person that they communicate only with,
Mhm.
to work it through. Some jobs are so big that you have to have team approach because there's too many pieces for one person. Some jobs lose their project manager for varying degrees that we talked about, so they have to naturally become team approach until we figure it out. Some jobs we're pushing into a window we don't even have because we need to do it or have to do it for whatever reason that is, and there's not enough project managers, so they get team approach. There's all different things, but it's like a power move. It's like a secret weapon.
Yeah. It's a fourth quarter play
Yeah.
when the clock's running out.
Yes.
Is it also something that you have in your playbook that you guys are doing behind the scenes regardless of the
Yeah.
situation?
Oh, yeah. Well, every job gets a taste of the team approach. It's just not as like discussed as a maneuver. It's more like, when Olivia's doing a project, she's not going to lay out the foundation. Luke is. She's not going to do the material takeoff on the framing. Spencer is. She's not going to work out a brace wall detail. Noah is. So she is using the team. She's using Deb and Rye in accounting, stuff like that. So that's happening on every job. It's just not said your team approach.
Mhm.
It's a little different.
You've got a project manager. We're still implementing all of our tools
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
Your point of contact is this team approach, your point of contact may change,
Mhm.
you know.
Which might not matter to some people.
No.
I mean, you're getting your house built. It's
Yeah.
happening
Yeah.
by Omnibuild. It's what you want. And I don't know if everybody who builds a home thinks, "Gosh, I really want a project manager." Like, maybe they do. I've never built a home,
Yeah.
but I think ultimately the concern would be, is it getting built on time and
I
on
think
on
it's
schedule?
important. I think whether your team approach or project manager, you need to have a very solid point of contact. I can't even imagine doing construction the way I used to, where I was kind of dealing with all the clients with a handful of people. It's too stressful. You can't give them what they need. You just can't. You can't fulfill their need for information effectively.
At what point in your career when you were starting out, I mean, it must have worked in the beginning to do it that way, but
Yeah.
then at a certain point, I'm sure a lot of guys in their career probably like hit a wall and are like, "What do I do now?
Yeah.
Can I afford a project manager?"
Yeah.
That's a
It
big.
adds a layer to things, but I think it makes us more efficient.
Mhm.
Well, I'll come right back to that, but I think one of the things about you said a Ford project manager,
Yeah.
our numbers do seem intense up front. Like they may seem like more, but 90% of the time, they are pretty darn close to everybody else's by the time you get done. There's all different methods of building. And with a project manager, I think it adds a level of efficiency that makes the job actually more cost effective. Now, up front, our numbers seem more because we're trying to give a very honest scope. We can leave out excavation and final seating and all these aspects that we know somebody's going to want or need, but we put them in there because we want you to have a real clear picture. We don't want you to think your house is going to cost 358,000 when we know damn well it's going to cost 375 because you may have 375 but want to buy your couch and your grill and those things and we tell you and then you're let down at the end because you don't have that money. And so we have really tried not to sugarcoat up front and just be really honest, and people have come back and said, you told me it was 400,000 and I laughed because somebody said they can do it for 360 and I ended at 410. And I'm like, "I'm sorry. I try to do my best to explain it." And I'm not saying that's the truth all the time, but we try very hard to cover permit costs, AEP costs, citizens costs, gas costs. I mean, all the stuff because that is a real aspect of building a home. I'm not going to price in RTA cardboard cabinets because I know I can get a change order. I'm going to price in the cabinets I think you want. Now, somebody might want RTA cardboard cabinets, and if they do, and I've clarified that in a meeting, then yeah, we're gonna price that in. and I feel really good about it. You understand what you're getting. Like, I have a customer that wants vinyl countertops or linoleum countertops. That's their choice. They like them. They've lived with them. That's great. I have no qualms with that. It's a lot less expensive. I've been very clear about what it is, and they've decided, so they are gonna get initial savings up front, and I know that's what they want, you know? So going back to the point of when we figured that out, um, I think that Courtney and Noah and myself and Abel in the beginning knew in our minds through lots of conversations how we wanted this to look. I don't think we exactly knew, but I think we had a strong intuition and subconscious. Like, Courtney and I would spend a lot of time talking about the company structure and what we wanted and how we saw it. And it was bouncing thoughts and ideas off each other of like, so this would be great if we had this. And I think it took 8 years to hone it in, to really have that moment. And Tree was a big part of that too, you know, of like, we need a specific person that is with the client from start to finish. That is that point of contact that understands what they talked about on the day we met them. I might have been the first one to meet him and vet him out, but at least I hopefully made a note in the folder that was translated to the manager that remembers that grass seed type was important to them. One of the first things I said, because everybody has different levels of what's important. Some people don't, the whole thing that's important is having a place to live. Some people, it's that the AC is balanced in their house. Some people, it's that the grass seed is fescue as opposed to some kind of rye. Some, so those are the little details that are important to have that continuity all the way through so that you're remembering that that window needs to be within an inch of what they discussed because they have a piece of furniture that goes there, you know? And if you're passing the buck to too many people, you lose that ability to fulfill customers' dreams.
Yeah.
And that's where I think, so in the beginning, everything was team approach. It was like, we got a job, we got to go do it. I'll call the foundation guy and set him up, and then Miller's there and Ian and Justin Grimes and whoever back in the day, like getting ready to start framing. And, then, the next thing happens and, between the 3 or 4 of us that were in the office, we're all trying to figure it out. And there's just terrible continuity. There's no central point of communication. You're asking Tree for an email that this person might have sent 6 months ago and got messy. It's just stressful,
Yeah.
you know?
So the project manager acts as like the thread through the
Yeah.
entirety and
Yeah.
the continuity that keeps it focused and
Yeah.
focused on the important stuff that the client wants, where like you could pass the buck down and people have different specialties that they're working on, like carpentry,
Yeah.
electrical. If you talk to the plumber about where you want your toilet, that could throw a whole
Yep.
wrench in your
It
project
could.
because they want to make you happy in the moment,
Mhm.
but ultimately, like, that's not what you agreed to, and so it could change the budget, could
Yeah.
change the project.
And it does get tricky because if a client's talking to a framer about moving something, the framer doesn't necessarily know if that's going to affect something else.
Mhm.
And it feels good in the moment, and they're not doing anything wrong, but the project manager should know
Yeah.
why things are where they are and what that could affect if it was changed. And so it's so critical. I can't even imagine doing it a different way. I mean,
Yeah.
I could if we only did like 3 or 4 projects.
Right. But once you're
Um,
scaling, that's kind of what's the first part of the question is like, once you got to a certain project amount, you probably realize this is not gonna be able to
yeah, we're
grow.
we're we're in point of no return right at this moment, land like wise. It's like it's I was telling Christy, like, yeah, we have to stack a lot of work. We have a very large management team, and we need to basically have more work than we can handle at all times. Because if we hit a slow spell, it's too many people,
Yeah.
So we're jamming. We're like, I said, if we get 6 more projects, we'll find a new project manager. That's kind of my mind state,
Yeah.
is like, we're in that zone of like, you want a house in 5 weeks, we're gonna do it. We'll figure it out, you know?
Well.
And it's not gonna change the process mostly. We might start off as a team approach, but move into project management, and all that stuff will be discussed, So that's why we're kind of always hiring
Mhm.
to a degree. Um, but it's gonna be a heck of a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going for glory.
Last week, ground broke at the Humane Society.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. Michael Short, Ryan Short, Danny Weeks, Shaplam. Boys are doing
They
it.
tore it up.
Yeah, they're doing good. Yeah, that's a great project. I'm super excited. We had a meeting, kickoff meeting. We're gonna have a groundbreaking ceremony, which I know we've already broke ground, but it's when we can get everybody there.
Okay.
So we're gonna do like it's like a, what do you call that? It's
Ribbon cutting? No.
it'll be like that, but it's like a thing we're gonna try to capture to look back on and say, this we kicked off the project with the right people that need to be there. But we're on a schedule, and so we can't wait for everybody to be ready on that time. So we're gonna find a spot and dig a hole and jump around and scream and yell and do cartwheels.
Let me know. We'll bring the camera.
Yeah, we are coming, just so you know. I don't want to do a selfie. I need you. Um, but yeah, we're broke ground. We're on schedule. Those guys are doing a great job. We had to work through some things to figure out the process to keep it on a good schedule. It's always a trick in the beginning. Um, so we feel good about it. I'm super excited. We're gonna hammer that job out. We got a big one in Grayson that we're super excited about. Freaking gorgeous. Um, we've been going up there for, oh my gosh, I want to say at least a year, but it's pushing 2. Meeting with them, having lunch. I went down there to say we can't. We went down. It would have been about a year and a half ago on the day before Thanksgiving. We were not working at Omnibuild, so me and Noah went down there, and it was nice. Me and Noah got some windshield time. We talked about the project on the way down. We kind of talked about the numbers on the way down. It's very loose because we didn't know what we were really doing yet or what the site was like. So we had a basic talk about it. And me and Noah said, so far we've talked to them on the phone a bunch. They seem like nice people. Um, but we're just gonna have to tell them we can't do the job. And so we get down there and we go through the motions. We talk about where it's gonna be, and we're not doing it. And this is the interesting piece of expectations. You go into it with an expectation like we're gonna have to tell them we're not doing the job. And we go down there and we look at that site. I'm like, man, this is gorgeous. There's a lot of fallen down trees from storm damage. It's hard to see the view and all that. And then we sit down and say, oh, we're gonna make some lunch. Sit down with her and her husband and her kids and her sister and her husband and her dad and mom, and have a beautiful lunch. I mean, it's great. It feels like I'm with my own family. And I'm like starting to sweat and I'm like, oh God. And I look at Noah and I can see he's like vibing the same thing because we have nonverbal communication skills nowadays at jobs.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll do the job. And I'm like, shoot, I'm like, we literally came down here to tell them we couldn't do the job. But the truth of the matter is, they're freaking awesome. I mean, we literally said it in the meeting the other day. Like, I do fall in love with a lot of my clients, and not in a weird way. Just like I love the fact that they're family orientated, or Mike Phillips, man. I mean, he is like the biggest family, and you sit on the outside of a family like that, and you speculate. It's a natural thing to do, and I never speculate anything bad or good or whatever. Just like, wow, that guy's got a lot of kids, and it must be wild and crazy. But working with him for the past 2 years, I'm like, that is a cool family.
Mhm.
Their kids love to come back to the house and hang out and do things, and they built a place where they can do that, and I'm like, that's what I wanna do. I want my kids to wanna come back, and they've done it right, and their kids are amazing. Same thing with, so I got a lot of love and respect for that, like, and that's what I mean by fall in love with my clients, like, there's aspects of it that I'm like, "That's cool," and with the Grayson job, they're awesome. I said the other day, I was like, "They could potentially be, like, my favorite client." Like,
Uh-oh.
her and her husband are like they're very cool. They're down to earth. They're so clear and direct in what they want in a kind and firm and natural way. And their kids and how they carry themselves in life is like it's pretty cool. My hats are off to them and their parents for the way that they raise them and what they're creating for their family. It's awesome. And I just think it's great. And there's no way I felt like I could not do that job, you know? And so we broke ground and, well, Ed went down and Ed Schumann with Easy and, like, pulled off the unimaginable. I mean, he literally, like, rappelled off a cliff to, like, clear trees.
Wow.
I mean, it's super intense. And he opened up this view, and it is I'm not even gonna say million, it might be $1 billion view. It is incredible
Wow.
of the Grayson Highlands. And now this is the first time we've been able to see it.
Mm.
And, they're on their way up for their first time being able to see this. They've seen the views from different areas of their property, but from the building, it is tremendous. It is
Wow.
amazing. We got the hole dug. We're getting ready to do footers on Monday. Super exciting.
Mhm.
We're gonna be camping down there in our campers, while we build, which is, I think, a cool experience. I think, it builds camaraderie with people or problems, and if their problems are built, then they'll have to work themselves out or I will, and I think the truth is it's gonna be a fun project. It's got all the right feels. It's like, it's feels good on a lot and things are happening so naturally that when that starts to happen on a job, you just have that feeling like this is gonna go pretty good, and that's what it feels like. Some jobs you're like forcing it, and you're like, oh, we're ready to go, and it just doesn't feel right. And it's not to say that it's wrong. It's just tough the whole way through. This one just feels supernatural. It's ready to go. We're gonna blast it out. And it's gonna be great, and I think they're gonna love it.
That trip down there with Noah when you thought you were gonna say no, and then you just instantly changed the tune once you felt that yes,
Yeah.
with the connection you made with them on a friendship level and saw their family, how they
Mhm.
operate. What was the reason you were gonna say no, and how did that yes come so easily?
The reason I was gonna say no was a distance.
Distance.
Straight up. Like, it's an hour and a half each way.
Yeah.
It's a long hour and a half. It's like 55 mile per hour, hour and a half,
Well.
and so that was pretty much the only reason I was gonna say no. Um, and I feel like I've been through a lot in my life, and I've had a lot of just tough times that I've had to work through, and maybe one day we'll get into all that on the podcast. But I have learned through my life to be clear with what my intentions are. And my intentions were pretty clear there to go down and say no. But to be like intuitive with myself of like a feeling and understanding that because I used to say yes to everything. And that was not a good thing because I would be saying yes to things I couldn't actually do. And I learned the hard way. And I paid the price emotionally, financially, all that. And so I've learned over the years that my gut and my heart and my brain work together and I need to think it through. And in that meeting, I think the whole time I was like, oh, they're pretty cool. Like, how would we do this? And I'm thinking it through and I'm trying to be realistic in my mind and what my crews are going to say if we're going to Grayson and what I would do if they said we weren't going to do it. Do I have the resources to be able to pull it off if it wasn't my all my crews, and I'm playing it out in a half an hour time. Just what's going to happen given it that pause before I said yes and I almost didn't say yes. I almost was like, I need a bit of time, and I'm trying to think back now if I did take some time, process it with Noah, and give them an answer back, and that might have been what happened. I'll have to think about that. It was a little bit of time ago.
But that feeling still was like the
Yeah.
inception was in that moment when you reconsidered.
Yeah, and I'm like, "How do I not do this with them?"
Uh-huh.
Because it felt like the right thing. It wasn't just like, because sometimes you'll go to a job where you're like, "Oh, man, there's an endless budget. I can do this and make a lot of money." And sometimes you go to a job and you're like, "It's such a cool project. How do I not do it?" Or different reasons. Like, it's not just about money. It's all different things. And, and I think you have to kinda, like, get yourself outside of that, and with them, it was more just about a feeling of, like, "I gotta do this job," like, they're very nice. I don't want anybody else to do it because I want them to get a good job and feel good about it, and I'll feel good about it, and then I'm integrated into a history of their family. Their kids are gonna own that property one day, and they're gonna have meals in that house with their kids. And that's how they're treating it, and I know that I can meet them on that level, and for me, I went through, like, it's realistic that we can do it. Is it gonna have challenging pieces? Yeah, but I'm up for that challenge, and I can handle it, and I can make the time and compartmentalize the things that I need to make it happen, and I'm creative enough in my career now. Now, if I was in my first 3 to 5 years of construction, I wouldn't be able to say yes. I might say yes and have a hard lesson to learn. Um, but thinking back, I now wouldn't have been ready to do it. Now I have enough resources, and it's not financial resources only. It's relationships with subs. It's mental strength. It's knowledge. It's equipment, tools that I can do it, and I know I can. And there's a potential business that I might be purchasing that has some of those elements of having to work out of town, and I've been thinking about that a lot and, like, what, that would look like for me. So I thought there was a lot of factors that went into it, and the biggest factor was not letting them down, and so do I feel like I'm gonna let them down? And that was what I kept asking myself. And I genuinely said no. There might be some harder points where I can't get there as fast as they may need me to, but I'm gonna try really freaking hard, and that's honest. And that is, and I have enough team, and that's why, like, I'm bringing Noah into the fold, and I'm bringing Olivia into the fold earlier on, and Haley, so that I have backup. And so that if I can't be down there, Olivia, Noah, or Haley can, it's going swimmingly.
Mm,
So far, so good,
yeah.
you know?
Might be going swimmingly, but you still have that little bit of fear that you need
Yeah,
to make
no, for
sure
real.
that you
I'm scared as hell, dude.
that's how you know it's gonna be a great job.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're pulling out all the guns for this project too. It's like team approach on steroids because you got project managers and you, and you're like,
It's 6 Wall Ring of Fire.
it's like a triple Hail Mary.
It's gonna be good. And honestly, like, I've had a good response from the crews.
Yeah.
I've had a good response from everybody that's working out there
Mhm.
so far, and is going to work out there. It's everybody likes had their fears. Danny's been like, "What am I going to do?" And then he went out and crushed it, did a great job, and we stepped it. Instead of doing a big excavation, we said, "Let's go down for 4 or 5 days and get what we need done, and do longer days." And same thing with Ed, and we're stepping it, and so that we don't try to take on too much all at once and burn ourselves out. It's a beautiful place to work, and Grayson's cool, man. Honestly, like, we're working for somebody up in Floyd that just moved up here from Grayson. He's like super cool. He's like, I don't know. I'm like, wow, man, Grayson's kind of cool. Like, they got cool people coming out of there. It's a nice family. Super excited about building for them. And the work is rolling in. I looked at 4 or 5 jobs this week.
Whoa.
Yeah, custom places, super kinda cool. One's Italian design. It's
Whoa.
a family from Italy. They want the house to float, trying to figure that out.
What?
That's alien technology, dude. I can't disclose how I'm gonna do it because I don't even know yet. But like we're gonna try to make it feel like it's floating, and it's a thing, you know. Like we built a bed that wanted to appear as it was floating, and we modeled it. Well, we didn't. Altura Architects did, and they nailed it. It is cool.
Yeah.
That's one of the best architectural firms in the universe.
Dang.
Yeah, they're good. Nathan Bryant.
Shout out.
Tracy Kearns is Alchemy Design. Next dimension, dude. They're
Mhm.
aliens.
Definitely.
They're at that level. And then it's been a cool year. We're working with a lot of cool people. We're actually working with a guy, Evan Hopman, from Kindred Designs. He's an architect up in the Philadelphia area, and he's just awesome. And I'm always like, how the heck are you going to work with an architect from Philadelphia? He's got it nailed. He is the man. It's been great to work with. He came from that firm when it was originally Samsel. We've been working with him on a really cool project on the lake, and it's just a nice feeling. And I think I used to have a lot of fears of working with architects of like, push. And I realized you just got to meet them on their level. Communicate, talk it through. Don't try to just do things that you think they would want. Check
Yeah.
and ask and explain why you might want to do that. But, you know, I think truthfully, this year is going to be an awesome year. We got a really cool big commercial project that I think we're going to find out today if we got it.
Woo.
Yeah. So next Friday I might have a lot to talk about, or nothing, because it might be so big I might not even be
Allowed to.
on the planet Earth.
Oh,
I might be doing extraterrestrial survey for new people. I need new aliens to pull it off.
Yeah. Looking for new aliens. Job available in
Boop, bop,
Floyd,
beep, boop,
Virginia.
bop. Yeah. Nah, we got a lot, and I'm one of my very, very good buddies, Jared. We do a lot of work together, and I have to say that relationship is amazing. He's a complete badass, and what he's built, his company, C&M, next dimension, and we're working together a lot, and it's kind of scary because if we do work together, there's not a lot that we can't do together, you know. Um, and it's just a cool thing. So I'm pretty excited about what the future holds.
Yeah.
So hide your wives, hide your children. We coming, man. Nah, we just want to do good work and make people happy. That's all it boils down to. Be competitive, find creative ways to pull off things, meet and exceed people's expectations, and just crush jobs. That's what we want to do.
All the while supporting the local economy and the community.
Yeah. Yeah, we both have 40 or 50 employees in Floyd County, so we're getting to be like a bigger job person. We work together all the time. I mean, there's probably not a day that goes by that we're not doing something together. And to me, I love that. That's how it used to be in Floyd with like I said, Benny Harris, OG triple platinum, original builder, OB. Well, that sounds weird. He's the original builder, and Kenneth. I can't forget him. But there's a couple others that I probably forgot, so sorry in advance. But like that's what it takes, man. Working with your kind of competition to figure out creative ways to pull things off together, and it makes it a very powerful thing, and powerful in the aspect of being able to pull off things for people that deserve it and that need it. And when you get a job with a strict deadline, you need all your resources. You need all your tools. You need to be able to go and punch it in the face, not the person, the job, and not really, but with a machine that digs a hole and then people building. That's how it works. It's not
That's the
actual.
parentheses.
Yeah, it's just a term that
It's almost the Omnibuild slogan.
I might
Well,
need
we
to
want to keep it professional.
change it. Cool.
Yeah. All
I'm
right.
stoked.
Episode 7 in the bag. You want to tell these guys to subscribe or something?
Yeah, let's do it. Subscribe and Dan, please, for the love of everything in the universe, aliens, everything. We need to make a list of people I need to drop swag off to.
Okay.
It went well at Express Mart, but the people that have commented, me and you need to spend 5 to 10 minutes and go through and just make a list of the names, and I need to drop swag.
All right. Next time, bring some hats in. We'll show them off.
I did wear another business, J&E Ride Rescue. Shout out Cody Brown, word to mother. He's got a podcast show thing going on, and
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's cool. He's working on projects, fixing things. He's very talented.
Nice.
He's family, so he's a good dude. He is
Cousin Cody.
Yeah, cousin Cody.
Check
him out. I wore his hoodie today.
Dang.
All good in the hood. There are not many of these, so I feel pretty cool.
You are.
Well, yeah. While I wear this, I am. So cool. Well, come back, subscribe, check it out. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Next episode, we will have a list by then, right, Dan? Of the people we owe swag to.
Next episode, if you comment on any of the episodes prior to this and this one, the next episode, we're going to announce who's getting
let's do
swag.
it. We'll have a list.
Why not?
Sick.
Boom. We'll even have some swag to show off to see. I'm
good.
hoping.
Leave a comment.
Comment, y'all.
Psst, psst. Secret. All right. See ya.
Later.